Hello and welcome to our viewers. I'm Nicole Thomas, and today we're going to hear from SailPoint customer Mark DeCos. He's the Identity and Access Management Program Manager at Royal Floraholland. Royal Floraholland is a cooperative of growers in the floricultural industry. Mark, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you too.
First question for you, Mark. Can you tell me a bit about your background and what you do at Royal Floraholland?
Yes, of course I can do that. Well, I've been in the identity space for quite a while now. I think it's over 15 years. And I've fulfilled several roles, from project manager, program manager, to also working for a small consultancy agency as a delivery manager. But in my career, I also worked on the business side as well on the IT side, and that enables me to really be effective in the identity space. Apart from that, I'm also a big believer in focusing on really small steps to achieve real business value, and I think that makes me really effective in my role as program manager. And that's the role I'm currently fulfilling at Royal Floraholland as well. And I must say that the actual role as program manager is only 20% of my task. The other 80% I'm actually doing identity and access management consultancy work for Royal Floraholland, meaning that I'm busy with helping the business, putting authorization matrix together, building role models, implementing identity process into tooling like Identity Now that we are using, and stuff like that. So my tasks are quite broad, and at the end I'm talking on one side to C-level about their challenges, and on the other side I'm talking to the engineers to make things happen.
Next question, Mark. Can you tell me a bit about your identity journey thus far?
Yes. Well, at Royal Floraholland, the identity journey started actually in 2018, where there arose a couple of audit findings to extent that Royal Floraholland really needed to do something. But step Floraholland, they did not want to put or create a project only based on audit findings. They wanted to turn that around and say, well, we do have audit findings, but let's also see if we can enable the business a bit more on the area of identity. So what they did is they said, well, if you look at identity, you have your internal employees, of course, but there's much more identity going on, like your customers, suppliers, partners. So let's look at all the populations, all the groups that need access, have access, use access, and create an identity solution for all of them. So the first step that we did is create a model or kind of a vision on identity. And after that, we started implementing certain solution projects to realize that vision. And especially on the business side, there's a couple of challenges for Royal Floraholland. Because of the market that we are in, the challenge that we have, we need to digitalize our business more and more. That's the only way of moving forward. That means that identity is in the center of that. So during our program, we focus on that as well as focusing on our internal identity challenges, and we move forward step by step. So we started, of course, with that vision, and then we looked at, of course, the critical applications that we have in the organization. We looked at the authorization matrices for that, role modeling. We did some critical remediation. And of course, we selected a tool to help us achieve our goals. And that at the end became SailPoint's Identity Now. And with that, we could automate like joiner processes, lever processes, and start onboarding all those applications that we have. And in the journey, we're now actually running a couple of certification campaigns, and that's the status that we're in now. On the customer side, we're actually busy of using Okta and connecting that to Identity Now. So that's where we are at the moment.
How has your program helped you to reduce risk within the organization?
Well, it really did. Because we were doing all the steps that are necessary to implement identity governance, we were able to get rid of hundreds of accounts that we could identify as not being used anymore, or there were accounts of levers and stuff like that, and we were not able to do that. So by disabling or deleting hundreds of accounts, I think we reduced quite a lot of risk. Also, the certification campaigns resulted in sometimes 15% and some even 50% of entitlements being removed. So it was quite successful doing that. And also what we were able to do is implement a so-called firefighter process with Identity Now that enabled us to have a situation where privileged access is not a standard assigned to certain people, but we assign that only when needed. And we do that through temporary roles in Identity Now, and we notify business owners when those roles are assigned, and after the access is used, we revoke those roles as well with Identity Now. So also in that area, we were able to lower risks of access.
How has the SaaS program allowed you to grow the business at a faster rate?
Well, the good thing about SaaS solution is that a lot of things you don't have to worry about anymore. You don't have to tell or think about how many servers do I need, how many users do I have on the system. You can grow whenever you need, but also it helps you also make things simpler, because it cannot be customized to the extent that you normally do with a on-prem solution. And that means that you have to think within the boundaries of the SaaS solution. And that is sometimes a challenge, but also makes things a lot faster. But the biggest, I think, advantage is that you don't have to worry about upgrades anymore. And also you don't have to worry about performance anymore. And those two things often bite you in the tail somewhere halfway your project, because you're a couple of months away, new releases start coming, and you have to wonder, do I need to upgrade or not? And it can make projects lengthy and very painful. With a SaaS solution, you don't have it anymore, and you can totally focus on business value and business problems instead of technical issues.
What has been the biggest win from your team's identity efforts?
Well, I don't know if there's one big win. If I should mention one big win, I would say being able to focus on business challenges instead of technical issues. Another is maybe being able to change things fast, to experiment a little bit. Sometimes it's very hard to know what you need up front, and with the way we work, we can sometimes say, okay, let's test this, see how it works, and then learn from that, and and improve. And with the previous, with the previous way of working, it was quite hard because we need to set everything in stone, and that's not the way you want to work.
So what's on the horizon for identity at Royal Floraholland?
Well, we are working on several subjects at the moment. Of course, what I already talked is we're integrating with Okta for the customer facing applications. But also we're working with RPA, robotics process automation, to automate our manual integrations. We have a couple of applications that we cannot connect to at the moment. And we see risk there, but also a lot of manual work. So we are trying to, or we're going to automate that through robotics. Also, a big chunk of work is implementing access request. For that, we need to make sure that when we assign roles, that the applications behind those roles are provisioned the correct way, and that as much as possible that there are no manual tasks to do anymore. And also that we explain to the business why certain roles are there, and that it's clear for them when they request access. While doing that, we are planning to extend the number of applications that we have in Identity now. Now we have 12 big ones, but we want to add more than 100 applications that are on Active Directory. And we think we can do that quite quickly because they are on Active Directory, but it will be challenging, but we plan to do that. And after that, and that will probably be 2021 or beyond that we are going to also start working on privileged account management. We don't know if we need extra tooling for that. Maybe we can do some of it just by configuring Identity now, but it could well be that privileged account management tooling is needed, and then we have to look at that as well.
Last question for you, Mark. If Identity was a celebrity, TV, or movie character, who would it be and why?
That's a good one. Well, I think I would say Elon Musk, because for me he's an inspirator. The way he looks at technology and how to change things such that you can fail fast, learn a lot by lowering risks, and do things different. And for me, he's an example of how we should do that. And that's why I mentioned him.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, Mark, and learning more about Royal Floraholland's identity journey. We're excited to see what you accomplish next. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, thank you too. Bye-bye.